Little change making a big difference in school safety. Buying students and teachers time when seconds count. Where the Metro School District stands on its promise to install ballistic film on all schools.
Alarmed. I feel alarmed.
Attacked and robbed by a group of men using a fire extinguisher as a weapon. The growing concerns about safety in Bellevue. And feeling the heat. What you shouldn't overlook is temperatures rise to nearly triple digits this week. Fox 17 News at 9 starts now.
Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
Fox 17 News witnessing just how hard it is to get through ballistic film like this. This time last year, the Metro School Board approved funding to install this film on all the windows and doors at every Metro school. But Fox 17 News has learned it won't happen until the end of this year. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller live at Metro School Board headquarters in South Nashville to explain this timeline.
Yes, well, Metro Schools says that shatter-resistant glass or film is being installed in all of their schools. They say they're working on it this summer and this upcoming school year, but some of the education leaders we spoke with say that this should have been done already. This is what it's like to have ballistic film on a window. It became state law in July of 2023, requiring new and remodeled schools to have film. Adam Jude, the president of Dickson Graphics, says they're installing this film on more than 70 Tennessee schools.
Ultra S800 holds together if you shoot it. Now, it doesn't stop bullets. So, you don't want to be behind it if somebody pulls a gun. However, what it will do is it will hold together while they're shooting at this window.
Jude explains it prevents a glass from shattering when someone shoots a window.
It was designed for the sole purpose of keeping someone out or slowing someone down. And again, it buys you time.
Time that Jude emphasizes could be the difference between life and death. Fox 17 News reached out to Metro Schools. Their spokesperson says shatter-resistant film is being installed throughout the district with an anticipated completion date at the end of the year. But J.C. Bowman, CEO of Professional Educators of Tennessee, says this should have been completed already.
We've been talking about a year now, both with SROs in the schools and everything with Metro. It's like everything we do at Metro seems to be very like pulling teeth, to be honest.
Bowman says it's up to the school districts to take action immediately. Now, the film company did add that these schools need more than this film. They need school resource officers, camera systems, and other security resources. Now, we also just learned that Wilson County did approve a bid to start installing this film. Reporting live from South Nashville, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Our Crisis in the Classroom coverage continues now with a hard look at safety. Security experts that we have spoken with tell us there's no better way to keep our children safe than a trained school resource officer on site. State lawmakers approved funding to put an SRO in every school in the state following the Covenant school shooting in 2023. For some districts, the issue is staffing. In Nashville, for instance, Metro Police simply don't have the bodies to put SROs in every elementary school, even if the money is there. In other counties where they don't have enough officers, SROs are now splitting time between schools, leaving one or both uncovered during the commute time. State lawmakers also passed a law allowing teachers and staffers with carry permits to go armed in schools in counties that don't have SROs. Several mid-state schools opted out of this plan. Security experts tell us they worry about the training needed to make armed teachers work. If you'd like to see all of our previous reporting on school safety, go to our website, fox17.com, and search ballistic film. Crisis in the Classroom is Fox 17 News' ongoing commitment to expose problems in our schools and to look for solutions. If you have a story you think we should cover, send an email to news@fox17.com, or you can phone our tip line. You see the number at the bottom of your screen, 615-266-4149.
Alarmed. I feel alarmed and like I'm going to be much more careful.
In Operation Crime and Justice, some Bellevue residents are on edge tonight after 3 robbers use a fire extinguisher to attack a woman out walking her dog. Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker now with more on the growing safety concerns in Bellevue.
A very scary situation. Now, Metro Police say that a woman was out walking her dog when she was approached by 3 men. She did say that her dog was friendly before a suspect did spray her and her dog with a fire extinguisher. Her dog then took off, and one of the suspects pushed her down to the ground, police say, striking her before taking off with her purse, car keys, and cell phone. Metro Police say these are 2 of the men responsible, now behind bars on a $100,000 bond, while the 3rd suspect is still on the loose. Valerie Craig with the Tennessee Voices for Victims says this is not only frustrating, but alarming.
I mean, she's walking her dog. I mean, like, that's just such an all-American kind of thing to do. She just should have had the right to be able to do that without her life forever changing.
One woman we spoke to, who wants to remain anonymous, tells me she had an encounter with the 3 men before the attack. This while also out on a walk where she lives.
I mean, I was standing as close to them as I am to you right now. I walked around. I felt an intuition, swing wide, stop standing close to these guys, something's not right.
This neighbor says she saw the fire extinguisher as the men blocked the sidewalk and asked her for money. She replied and said she didn't have any cash on her.
I thought I should maybe report these guys. And then, of course, my mind went to, well, I don't want to feel like I'm profiling them.
The woman says next time she's going to listen to her instincts.
When in doubt, go ahead and report, because I might have been able to prevent her from going through that had I come in and instead of only bolting my door, called to say, somebody needs to check this out.
This all comes on the heels of a string of violent crimes in the last several months in Bellevue. The district councilwoman Sherry Weiner tells me she and her constituents are fed up with ongoing crime, and that police have enhanced their presence but can't be everywhere without increased staffing. Now, the residents here at Cortland Bellevue do tell me that the gate for this community has been broken for the past several weeks. So today I did go to the front office to ask when that will be fixed, and they say by the end of this week. For now, reporting in Bellevue, Kylie Walker, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
An update tonight as the popular, family-friendly attraction Lucky Lad Farms is back open in Rutherford County. That farm, you may recall, suffered some damage in the tornado that chopped these trees in half last month. Workers had to rebuild a barn there on the property along with the business office. The farm will reopen on Thursday morning at 10 a.m. In the economy now, the 51st annual CMA Festival is wrapped up and organizers are celebrating some milestones along with a big influx of tourist spending. This 4-day festival, which wrapped up on Sunday evening, attracted visitors from all 50 states and 46 countries around the world. More than 300 performers took part. The festival averaged some 90,000 visitors per day. Next year's CMA Fest is set for June the 5th to the 8th, and tickets will go on sale in about 2 weeks. On the heels of the CMA Fest, the 4-day Bonnaroo Music Festival is kicking off this coming Thursday in Manchester, down in Coffee County. Our X question tonight, a poll of the day, if you would. Are you planning to go to Bonnaroo? 407 people have weighed in. The vast majority say no, we're going to sit this one out. Only 4.7% say yes, we are going. Poll's live right now, though. If you'd like to cast your vote, you can scan the QR code on your screen or go to our X page. Our handle is @FoxNashville, and we will update these results for you later in the newscast. All right, let's talk about the weather. Really nice this weekend, at least on Saturday. Rained a little bit on Sunday, but generally pleasant, not unlike today.
Very nice. I went home for dinner, actually, and it's so cute. I drove up and my husband was sitting on the front step with one baby in his hand and the other one in the little pack and play that we have.
Waiting for mom to show up.
Waiting for mom to come home so we could have dinner. Yeah.
It was so nice. You can sit out on a night like this.
Right. Yeah. You got to take advantage of those kinds of days while you can. Because they are numbered, unfortunately. Trend is a lot warmer weather headed our way as we get into the later half of the week, and unfortunately just in time for Bonnaroo. We are going to be looking at heat to return. In fact, could be looking at some near record highs as we head towards the weekend. So we have another nice day to enjoy, and beyond that, it's going to start to turn warm. Live look here from our South Nashville camera. We are quiet for tonight, and we'll be looking at a quiet radar not only for this evening, but for the next several days. I don't see rain headed our way until maybe a week from now. Temperatures at the moment sitting around 70. Temperatures are sliding quickly after reaching about 84 this afternoon. We are going to see them drop back quite a bit. The air is dry. One of the reasons why it was comfortable to sit outside. The bugs weren't too bad, at least where I was. And the humidity wasn't too bad. And that's going to be the story for tomorrow. But beyond that, we'll start to warm things up. Overnight lows dropping back into the mid-50s. We could even call it cool in some spots like Cookeville and Clarksville in the low 50s. We'll talk about and walk you through the next couple of days, including which days we could be close to some record highs. That's in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
Town Hero.
A Fox 17 health alert tonight as we prepare for highs soaring into the 90s on Thursday, and that hot temperature will be around until early next week. In fact, we are looking at near record highs both Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. To help us prepare for these blistering temperatures, we are joined by Dr. Joseph Gigante, a professor of pediatrics at the Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt. Dr. Gigante, thanks so much for taking the time to do this for us.
Hey, great being with you tonight.
Let's talk about children. That's your specialty, and they are especially vulnerable. What should we as parents do in this extreme temperature that we're headed toward to protect them?
Yeah, I think especially when children are outside, especially if they're playing outside, first of all, one of the things we worry about with the heat and the sun is sunburn. So be sure that parents are using sunscreen. We usually recommend an SPF of 30 or higher. If possible, try to put the sunscreen on at least 30 minutes before kids go out and then reapply it every 2 hours. And as they're playing outside, cool off with water as often as possible. And by that, I mean either be sure the child is drinking lots of fluids, and, water is great. So be sure they're drinking lots of water. And then if they're at all able to be near some kind of water, kind of swimming or the pool are also kind of great alternatives to kind of cool off with water as we're dealing with this extreme heat.
Even as we try to be careful, sometimes kids are, overdone rather quickly. What are the trouble signs for both kids and adults in this heat?
Yeah, I think there's several things that parents can look for that will be some early signs that their child may be experiencing heat illness or kind of heat exhaustion if it gets to that point. So one of the things to look for is headache. So if your child starts complaining of their head hurting, that could be a sign that they are getting dehydrated. The other thing that we'll sometimes see is that if they are not complaining of headache, they may either complain of dizziness. The parents may notice they're getting confused. Kind of the extreme of that is they may actually even lose consciousness and faint. Another thing that parents should be looking out for is just lots of sweating. So really heavy sweating could be a sign that they're getting dehydrated. And then the last thing, I think kind of real common symptoms for parents to look for is the child complaining of either kind of leg weakness or muscle cramps. So looking out for all those signs may be things that parents can do to hopefully recognize that the child is potentially developing some symptoms of heat illness and then dealing with that accordingly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, Katie, and that conversation with Dr. Gigante leads us into what you were talking about as the week goes on, and we are looking at pretty much the hottest weather we've had so far this year.
Yeah, and it'll be a stretch that we see those 90s around starting Thursday and lasting at least into the beginning of next week. We're not going to see any rain either, so it's going to be pretty dry. We start off with a look at our headlines here, and again, the good news is tomorrow is going to be a lot like today. So if there's something that you've been putting off that's outdoor activity that you need to get done, tomorrow is your day before we start to see things go downhill or uphill, if you will, with temperatures. We are looking at sunny conditions all week long, and as I mentioned, I don't see rain anywhere in our future in probably for 6-7 days maybe. So it'll be a while before we see those showers return. And of course, we've been talking about the possible record heat. 90-degree days so far for 2024. We've had 3 of them, and we will add to those numbers as we head towards Thursday and Friday. The average for the entire year is around 49. So ways to go, but we're just getting started with the season. Summer, by the way, officially begins the 20th. I believe it's the 20th this year, next week. We take a look here at the next several days, and you can see easily that climb. Our average line, just for perspective, is this yellow one that you see here, and we climb well above that as we head towards the weekend. It'll be Saturday and Sunday that I think will be closest to our record high, which is actually 100 for Saturday and Sunday. But temperatures on Sunday could be close to 98. Plenty of sunshine for tomorrow, not feeling too humid. If there is a silver lining here with this heat, it's the fact that even as we head towards the weekend, the humidity isn't going to be oppressive. It'll start to feel a little humid because it'll be so warm, but it won't be the oppressive humidity that brings us heat index values well over 100. So that's good news. Temperatures around 70 at 10 o'clock. We're up to about 78 as we head towards 2 and 80 with plenty of sunshine. The high pressure here moving in for tomorrow afternoon is responsible for mainly sunny skies. And notice as we head through Wednesday morning, that high begins to slide to the east. As it does so, we start to see that flow shift to the south. And so that begins to usher in warmer weather for us, and that'll signal the big climb as we head towards Thursday and Friday. But notice that we stay rain free all the way through the work week. We are looking at a mainly clear night. A bit of patchy fog can't be ruled out, mainly in low-lying areas, but generally pretty comfortable start to the day tomorrow, and we're up to about 80 for the afternoon, which is below average for this time of year. We'll talk more about those records. We'll have a look at the records for the week ahead, where we stand, and your Bonnaroo forecast. That's all coming up.
Thousands demonstrating outside the White House in opposition to the war in Gaza. I'm Kayla Gaskins in Washington. Coming up, what the demonstrators left behind and why it's catching critics' attention.
Hey there, on Fox 17 News this morning, anchor Erica Glover. Movie theaters are now turning to some
Hometown hero.
Thousands gather in Washington to protest the Israel-Hamas war, but it's what they left behind that is making headlines tonight. Fox 17 News' Kayla Gaskins has more on that, and you can let us know what you think. You can weigh in by scanning the QR code that will appear on your screen.
This past weekend, pro-Palestinian protesters demonstrated outside the White House, vandalizing statues and monuments that commemorate U.S. veterans.
You had anti-American, pro-Hamas lunatics defacing and desecrating the statues of our great veterans, which is a plain violation of federal law.
On Monday, the U.S. Park Service confirming no arrests were made for the destruction of government property.
But Joe Biden's government allowed it to happen, and I bet we're not going to see any arrests or prosecutions for violating that law.
Senator Tom Cotton writing on X, I expect the Justice Department to use every technique against them that it used against the grandmas in MAGA hats on January 6th. According to the DOJ's website, 79 January 6th protesters have been charged with destruction of government property. More destruction occurring overseas. The U.S. Embassy in Australia vandalized on Sunday, windows smashed, and pro-Palestine symbols painted on the glass. The Prime Minister calling this destruction a crime, urging a return to respectful political debate. Meanwhile, Senator Tom Cotton says he plans to introduce legislation on Capitol Hill this week to impose stiffer penalties on demonstrators who cause damage to federal property. On Capitol Hill, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Now, during this story, we had a QR code up linking you to a poll asking whether protesters who vandalize federal government property should be prosecuted. 519 people weighing in, and 97.5% say yes, they should. Our thanks for all who voted tonight. Just ahead, understanding the shooter.
F. Myers Furniture.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, are partnering with Feed America for the Sinclair Cares Summer Hunger Relief Program. You can donate by scanning the QR code on your screen or go to sinclaircares.com. Fox 17 News has 2 more images from the Covenant school shooters' journals. Those writings were shared by our friends at the Tennessee Star. More leaks in an investigation that Metro Police are, by their own admission, struggling to control. Fox 17 News' Amanda Chen in studio now with the very latest.
The 2 pages we received from the Tennessee Star include ramblings and thoughts from January and February of 2023, weeks before the devastating shooting at the Covenant School. A source familiar with the investigation tells Fox 17 News the shooter wrote about fantasies of school shootings. On page 1 of the writings sent to us by the Tennessee Star, Audrey Hale talks about gender identity, stating, "A terrible feeling to know I am nothing of the gender I was born of. I am the most unhappy boy alive." Hale goes on to say, "I will be of no use of love for any girl." On page 2 of the writings sent to us by the Tennessee Star, Hale says, "I think of death a lot because I think of you." Hale then goes on to talk about the sadness of leaving everything Hale loves behind, including family members. Again, these are just 2 of what attorneys for Metro say are hundreds of documents related to the shooting. Metro Police say they are concerned about the possible leak and would like to know how those pages got released. Reporting in the studio, I'm Amanda Chen, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Audrey Hale killed 3 children and 3 adults in a hail of gunfire at the Covenant School in Green Hills in March of 2023. Late last year, 3 other images from Hale's journals, her writings, were shared online by a popular podcaster. A lawsuit to make all of the journals public is still pending. Metro Police maintain their investigation is ongoing and that the journals will not be released until their probe is over. Tonight, a local judge presiding over that lawsuit to make the journals public has called an emergency hearing for next week. She plans to ask the Tennessee Star to explain why those behind the publication should not be held in contempt. Fox 17 News will bring you that decision on Monday. And to see all of our previous reporting on the Covenant story, you can go to our website, fox17.com, and simply search Covenant. Tonight, the fate of Hunter Biden in the hands of a jury in Delaware. As Fox News' Matt Galka tells us tonight, the president's son did not testify on the final day of his federal gun trial.
Will you testify? Hunter Biden and his defense team opted to not have the president's son testify in his criminal gun trial.
If it is just the prosecution's case and the defendant does not testify, then the burden is where it should be, which is on the prosecution. It's just too risky to have a defendant testify because you don't know what the prosecution is going to ask them.
Day 6 of the trial featured prosecutors recalling FBI Special Agent Erica Jensen to the stand. Jensen was asked about texts Hunter Biden sent between October 10th and 16th in 2018 about meeting someone at a 7-Eleven convenience store in Wilmington, Delaware. Biden had mentioned the store in a different message when he was waiting to buy drugs.
They had to show that at the time he bought this revolver, he was using drugs and was a drug addict. And they've proved that from a number of sources, particularly Hallie Biden, who's got him through text messages that he was, purchasing crack cocaine during that time period.
The timing is important because Biden bought a revolver on October 12th. He's charged with 2 counts related to lying about not being a drug addict during the time of the purchase, along with a charge related to owning the gun while abusing drugs. But Biden's defense team asked Jensen if there was location data to confirm he was at the convenience store when he sent the October 10th message. Jensen replied she didn't have that. Jensen was the only rebuttal witness called before closing arguments began Monday afternoon. In part of his final words to the jury, prosecutor Leo Wise gestured to the Biden family members in attendance, including Hunter's stepmother, First Lady Jill Biden, saying respectfully none of that matters, before telling the jurors that the evidence in the trial was all that mattered and that no one is above the law. President Biden has been supportive of his son while trying to keep his distance from the trial, and the First Lady has been in attendance on most court days. The president vowed not to pardon Hunter if he is found guilty, and the harshest sentence could carry 25 years in prison. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Galka.
In health news tonight, some new hope for families who are dealing with Alzheimer. Eli Lilly, the drug company, just won the backing of federal health advisors to start testing a new drug. The treatment is expected to be approved for people with mild forms of dementia. FDA advisors say this drug will slow the ability of the disease to grow, and they said that outweighs the risks, including side effects, which include brain swelling and bleeding. The FDA will make a final decision on approval for this drug later this year.
Nice and comfortable this evening as temperatures continue to drop back to the low 70s, eventually into the 60s and 50s for the overnight. Still some folks out and about enjoying downtown after a very busy weekend. I think we lucked out for the most part as far as weather goes in CMA Fest. This week for Bonnaroo, again, it'll be warm, but at least we will be dry. Highs tomorrow if, again, you want to do something outdoors and don't want it to just feel quite so hot. Tomorrow's one of your days, as we're only expected to reach about 80 here in town. Upper 70s out in Dickson and Columbia. Clarksville reaching 77 for tomorrow with mainly sunny skies, and Murfreesboro around 78 degrees. So again, a comfortable day, kind of like what we had this afternoon. Here's a look at our breakdown as far as where we'll be close to record highs. Beginning on Thursday, our high expected to be around 92. The record is 97. Should be safe there. 95 on Friday. Record is 97. And then Saturday and Sunday, we're in the mid to upper 90s with that record not too far away here. 100 is the record set back in 1952. So we'll be on record watch there. And it looks like the warm weather will continue into the beginning of next week. We'll have a look at the forecast down in Manchester.
And on Fox 17.
It has been nearly a week since President Biden's new executive order on asylum seekers went into effect. And as Fox 17 News' Christine Frizzell shows us tonight, reaction from Washington has been swift.
Almost immediately, video of migrants being sent back to Mexico was released. An attempt to show that President Joe Biden's new asylum rules were being implemented.
Our intent is to really change the risk calculus of individuals before they leave their countries of origin and incentivize them to use the lawful pathways that we have made available to them.
The new executive action orders border agents to stop processing asylum claims once migrant encounters hit 2,500 per day, which meant it went into effect immediately.
The simple truth is there is a worldwide migrant crisis. And if the United States doesn't secure our border, there's no limit to the number of people may try to come here.
But 5 days in, critics are questioning the impact. The House Homeland Security Committee posting the exceptions to Biden's new executive order are broad enough to drive a truck through, since it doesn't apply to those judged to be victims of severe forms of trafficking or those who use the CBP One app or unaccompanied minors, with mounting questions about how the new policy will be paid for. Still, a majority appear to support the plan. A new CBS YouGov poll shows 70% of registered voters approve of Biden's executive order, but that 62% also approve of a program to deport all undocumented immigrants, a plan touted by Trump.
On day one, I will seal the border, I will stop the invasion, and we will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country.
President Biden also has plenty of critics from the left who say the policy goes too far. The National Immigrant Justice Center calls the changes replicas of the Trump-era asylum bans. It, along with the American Civil Liberties Union, have vowed to sue. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
Live on Fox 17.
Tonight in Spotlight on America, a brand new report that says the federal agency charged with keeping you informed and safe on the road, essentially behind the wheel, should do a better job. As Fox 17 News' Lisa Fletcher shows us, at issue is the over-reliance on high-tech features like automatic brakes and blind spot warnings.
From helping you stay in your lane to braking and checking your blind spots, cars are being designed to save you from a crash. But the features aren't fail-safes, making it crucial that all drivers know the limitations.
What are the risks?
Drivers don't fully understand the capabilities and the limitations of driver assistance technologies.
That could lead to misuse of those technologies, or they could turn them off. They may over-rely on the technology, pay less attention.
Andrew Van Ah is the author of a Government Accountability Office report that found 1/3 of drivers surveyed had little to no knowledge about the driver assistance technologies on their vehicles. And nearly 80% of drivers didn't know that blind spot warnings do not detect vehicles passing at extremely fast speeds. Then there are the automatic emergency brakes. As we've been reporting for years, the systems don't work well at night, and sometimes not at all, because darkness can limit the function of cameras that are supposed to detect hazards. According to one survey, 1/3 of drivers don't know that those sensors or cameras can be blocked by dirt, ice, or snow.
We want to make sure that drivers are continuously paying attention to the road, that they're actively driving, that they're not letting these technologies take over and do things that they are not really designed or meant to do.
The GAO went undercover in 10 car dealerships in Virginia and Maryland to see what buyers were being told, and found some salespeople giving buyers false confidence in the safety systems. During one visit, a salesperson told an undercover buyer the system would basically drive itself unless the road was covered in snow.
So they're trying to sell a car, right? So it makes perfect sense. But when we asked a little bit further about some of the limitations, some dealerships, were a little bit better about talking about some of those limitations, that you shouldn't drive it in these conditions, and others really kind of glossed over the limitations quite a bit.
The report found the federal agency in charge of traffic safety, NHTSA, isn't doing enough to get the facts to consumers.
We've recommended on a couple of occasions for NHTSA to take action. The agency has been hesitant to sort of move forward with that.
About half of the automaker web pages GAO reviewed provided partial or no information on the limitations of driver assistance technologies.
Is there a need to streamline all of that information to consumers to reduce risks?
It would be useful to have it all in one place. I think there's more that NHTSA could do to bring information down about what's known onto their website, to provide a one-stop shop for consumers.
To make sure drivers don't get steered in the wrong direction. NHTSA has agreed to the recommendations in the report. It has until September to provide a detailed response to the Government Accountability Office. To see all of our reporting on driver assistance technology, go to SpotlightInvestigates.com.
Lisa, thank you. All right, back to the weather. Katie, very pleasant today as we discussed, but the heat is coming.
Heat is coming. It'll be a couple days before we really start to feel it, but it's going to come in and it's going to stay around, unfortunately, for a couple of days. Summer's here.
We're ahead on rainfall for the moment.
Yes, that's right. Something else we're going to be talking about more and more too is going to be the heat index forecast, or I should say the UV index forecast. So this is basically how long it takes for you to burn. And again, temperatures will be in those low 80s. The sun angle is of course getting higher as we head into the later part of June and more so into July. So we're kind of in between that moderate to high category for tomorrow, but we'll likely see it more in the high to extreme category as we head toward the weekend. Burn time, I would say between 20 and 25 minutes just for tomorrow, and then from there it'll be a shorter time. But if you want to be out, maybe doing some morning exercise, tomorrow morning is going to be a great day to get out and maybe go for a jog before work if you can. Lots of sunshine around, the air again feeling dry and crisp for this time of year, and temperatures in the mid to upper 50s for the morning hours. Things are pretty quiet here in Nashville, so I thought we'd take a quick look around the U.S. to see what else is going on. We have a front here out in the northern plains, and heat advisories and extreme heat warnings for folks out west. One of the other big stories that we are focused on nationally, as far as meteorologists go, is the amount of rain that is going to be falling in Florida over the next few days. There is a ton of tropical moisture that has been opened up here in the Caribbean and into the Gulf, and this is just going to stream out of the Caribbean and through the Gulf here, and it's going to just open the doors, open the floodgates for a ton run of rainfall. So if you have plans to head to Florida in the next few days, I'm sure you're probably already aware of the weather, but it is unfortunately looking very wet, where we could find close to a foot of rain in portions of central and south central Florida. So it really is unfortunately looking quite rainy for Florida for the remainder of the week. Back here at home, things remain quite dry. Bonnaroo forecast is going to be quite toasty as well. We'll be in those low 90s all weekend long. And notice these overnight lows are not looking too great either. Upper 60s to low 70s, and a lot of people camp. So we're not getting a lot of relief from that heat from the afternoon, even throughout the evening hours, with those temperatures hovering around 70. As I mentioned, if there's a silver lining here, it's the fact that we are looking at semi-dry air. So somewhat, we'll call it refreshing for Tuesday and Wednesday, but you can see that it stair steps on Thursday and more so Friday and Saturday, starting to feel more humid with those temperatures on the rise. But when we're talking about mid to upper 90s and heat index values not expected to get much higher than that, I'd say we'd be maybe close to 100 by the end of the weekend, but we won't be in the 105 to 110 range because the air is just not going to be too humid for us. So that's good news. At least that's the way it's looking right now. Your 7-day forecast does show 90s stretching from Thursday all the way into Monday early next week with very little chance.
Earlier in the newscast, we asked our viewers who among you planning to go to the 4-day Bonnaroo Music Festival. Kicks off Thursday down in Coffee County in Manchester. We've got 429 people weighing in so far, and a whopping 95.6% say, yeah, I don't think so. We're going to set this one out. We'll show you updated results on this coming up tonight on Fox 17 News at 10. In the meantime, please cast your vote. In entertainment news tonight, the Pants NFL legend Tom Brady won his final game as a pro, recently sold at auction for $89,000. Katie and Tom bought those. The Bucs lost to the Cowboys in that game, the 2022 playoff game. It was a wild card matchup. Now, that's certainly a lot for a pair of uniform pants, but a far cry from what the jersey Brady wore during that same game brought in. We're talking $1.4 million. Just ahead, an e-cigarette crackdown. One has the federal government pulling the plug on some popular products. And speaking of popular, making a comeback, the fan favorite returning to Papa John's by popular demand. Food and Drug Administration now renewing its focus specifically focused on stopping the sale of certain types of e-cigarettes. The agency just launched a federal task force targeting the sale and distribution of illegal vaping products, especially those that are targeting minors. This comes after the FDA issued more than 1,100 warning letters to manufacturers, importers, distributors, and retailers for illegally distributing and selling unauthorized tobacco products. Well, America spoke in consumer news. The powers that be at Papa John's listen to you. The pizza maker is bringing back its most requested menu item of all time, that being the Papa John's Cheesy Burger Pizza. Coming back after more than 500,000 fans begged for its return. The pizza burger mashup topped with a signature burger sauce, beef of course, tomato, dill pickle, and mozzarella cheese. The pie will be available at Papa John's around the country starting Thursday.
It is still in early trials, but researchers say a new study on a cancer vaccine is showing promising results. I'm Liz Bone as we explain how it works and how it could save lives. Just ahead.
This is Fox 17 News at 10, your Code Red station.
Tonight in Crisis in the Classroom, Fox 17 News showing you just how hard it is to get through ballistic film. This time last year, the Metro School Board approved money to install this film on the doors and windows at every school in the district. But Fox 17 News has learned this is not going to happen until the end of the year. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller now live at School Board headquarters in South Nashville with more on the installation timeline.
Yes, well, Metro Schools says that shatter-resistant film will be implemented in all of the schools. Now, they say they started this process this summer and will continue on this upcoming school year. Now, this became law in July of 2023, requiring new and remodeled schools to have film. Adam Jude, the president of Dickson Graphics, says it prevents glass from shattering when someone shoots a window. Jude says it's very difficult to gain entry with this type of film. Fox 17 News reached out to Metro Schools, and their spokesperson says that shatter-resistant film is being installed throughout the district with an anticipated completion date at the end of the year.
This is one of those things where if you can slow somebody down even just a minute or two, it's probably the difference between life or death.
J.C. Bowman, CEO of Professional Educators of Tennessee, says Metro Schools should have installed this ballistic film already. Now, the film company says that the schools really need a lot more than this film. They need school resource officers, camera systems, and other security resources. Now, we also spoke with Wilson County, who says that they've already completed a bid and will start installing this film at their schools. Reporting live from South Nashville, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Caitlin, thank you. Crisis in the Classroom is Fox 17 News' commitment to you, our customer, to expose problems in our schools and to find solutions. If you have a story you'd like to see us cover, send an email to news@fox17.com or call our tip line at 615-266-4149.
Alarmed. I feel alarmed and like I'm going to be much more careful.
Some Bellevue residents on guard tonight after a woman is robbed yesterday in broad daylight at her place while out walking her dog. Metro Police say 3 men collectively sprayed the woman and her dog with a fire extinguisher. The dog ran off while the men pushed the woman down, taking her purse and her cell phone. Another woman in that area says she saw the men before this attack and regrets not reporting because she felt something was off.
When in doubt, go ahead and report, because I might have been able to prevent her from going through that had I come in and instead of only bolting my door, called to say somebody needs to check this out.
Now, Metro Police say these are 2 of the men who are responsible. They're being held now on a $100,000 bond. They are still looking, police are, for the 3rd man in the case. Continuing coverage on the Covenant School tragedy and the shooter's writings. The Tennessee Star newspaper sharing pictures of 2 additional pages from the journals of shooter Audrey Hale. Those journals detail the feelings of being born in the wrong body, essentially the wrong gender, feelings of unhappiness. There is currently a legal battle underway to make all of the writings public. The Tennessee Star is fighting to make all of that happen. The judge presiding over that case in Nashville, the lawsuit that has been filed, has called an emergency hearing for Monday to discuss the latest leaks in the case. Even before these 2 images were made public, the Metro Police Department was on record saying it was concerned about leaks. In Operation Crime and Justice, police in Atlanta, Georgia arrest a man wanted for a Nashville shooting in February. Metro Police say 25-year-old Devin Lauderdale is one of 2 men involved in gunfire near 12th South back in February on the 7th. Lauderdale will be returned to Nashville to face an attempted murder charge. Police are still looking for the other suspect in that shooting. New tonight in Wilson County, an auto parts manufacturer announcing plans to close next year, putting nearly 100 people out of work. Tachi's Automotive Seating in Mount Juliet filing a notice with the Tennessee Department of Labor. The notice says that the terminations will happen between September and March of next year. 90 employees will be impacted.
Warmer weather on the way today, reaching 84 degrees. Will be slightly cooler as we head into tomorrow, and we have at least a day or 2 of the cooler weather to enjoy before the heat turns on. And we'll be looking at temperatures well into the 90s by the end of the work week. Live look at our South Nashville camera. Had a gorgeous sunset from this camera earlier this evening, and now looking at a quiet picture for tonight. Wouldn't be surprised if we have a spot of fog or maybe some patchy fog in low-lying areas. But generally looking at quiet conditions here, the radar is going to be quite dry over the next several days. Our temperatures now in the upper 60s at the moment. We will continue to drop back into the 50s for the overnight. So again, that drier air in play, it's allowing us to swing more as far as our afternoon high goes compared to our morning low. We should be around 56 here in Nashville for the overnight, low 50s for Clarksville, Cookeville and Crossville, low 50s as well. Murfreesboro right around 55. We'll walk you through the 90s that are on the way, how close we could be to some records. It's in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast. Scott.
Katie, thank you. Earlier in the newscast, we asked you what you thought in terms of whether you plan to attend the Bonnaroo Music Festival, which starts this coming Thursday down in Manchester. And 436 people weighing in, and more than 95% say no, we're not going to be making that trip. We have a poll for you every night on our X page that you can take part in. Be looking for that. Our thanks for all who voted in this one tonight. Covering the economy now, the cost to own and maintain a home in this country is up more than 25% since 2020. According to a new study in Bankrate.com, the average person can expect to pay more than $18,000 a year just to keep the place up. That includes property taxes, insurance, maintenance, utilities, and internet service. It adds up to about $1,500 a month on top of the mortgage. In 2020, that number was closer to $1,200 a month. Now, when it comes to the most expensive states to own a home, Hawaii tops the list at $29,000 a year, followed by California, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The least expensive is Kentucky with an average yearly cost of $11,500. Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, and Indiana round out the top 5. Tennessee, by the way, 18th least expensive in terms of states when it comes to home expenses. The deliberation stage, what didn't happen on the final day of Hunter Biden's federal gun trial. Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, are partnering with Feed America for the Sinclair Cares Summer Hunger Relief Program. You can donate by scanning the QR code on your screen or go to sinclaircares.com.
You might see more summer deals at your local movie theaters. What they're doing to try to get customers back in the seats, that story Tuesday on Fox 17 News this morning.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger. For over 30,000 mouth-watering choices. Plus, savings like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. And
opening the president's son to likely intense cross-examination. In closing arguments, the government prosecutor pointed to more than a dozen members of the Biden family in the audience, saying they don't matter. Only the evidence does, which he called, quote, ugly and overwhelming. Another prosecutor added no one is above the law, including the president's son. Choices have consequences, and that is why we're here. Prosecutors reminded jurors of texts shortly after the gun purchase, including this one 2 days later, where Hunter texted his sister-in-law, Hallie Biden, "I was sleeping on a car, smoking crack on 4th Street and Rodney." But the defense countered he was lying about his whereabouts. And after his August 2018 stay in drug rehab, Hunter Biden truly believed he was no longer addicted when buying the gun 2 months later and did not knowingly lie. Defense attorney Abby Lowell telling jurors Hunter may have been using alcohol, not drugs. Lowell told jurors kicking crack cocaine is hard, kicking alcohol is harder. As she did today, First Lady Jill Biden has attended nearly every day of court, shuttling back and forth between France, where the president was on a state visit. Taxpayers reportedly were footing the bill for the transatlantic travel, but there are now reports the Democratic National Committee will pay for some of the costs. The First Lady, Hunter, his wife, and others were seen just outside the courtroom doors this morning, huddled together in a group hug with bowed heads in apparent prayer. Jury deliberations will resume Tuesday morning. In Wilmington, Delaware, David Spunt, Fox News.
In 10 minutes, you can hear from a couple of IRS whistleblowers who helped to build the case against Hunter Biden. Covering the economy now, a top International Monetary Fund official tonight is warning that the U.S. needs to keep its finances in check. The International Monetary Fund's Deputy Managing Director tells the Fiscal Times that the U.S. has a lot of room to reduce its national debt given the economy's massive growth compared to other nations. She says that financing all the spending we're doing right now through borrowing just is not sustainable. But the White House is blaming the 2017 tax cuts on all this and not excessive spending.
The tax cuts ballooned the deficit by $2 trillion and produced very little in terms of any additional investment or growth. And so, if you look at contributions to the debt and deficits, those really, the large contributions came under the previous president.
Those cuts are set to expire next year. President Biden wants to extend some of them. Republicans want to extend all of them. Conservatives believe that big spending during Mr. Biden's first year in office is driving the deficit. The IMF supports plans to increase taxes on wealthy Americans. More fallout from nationwide campus protests.
Furniture.
Changes could be coming at Southwest Airlines. The Wall Street Journal says Elliott Investment Management has invested nearly $2 billion in Southwest and is now one of the airline's largest investors. Elliott is known for taking on businesses and forcing management shakeups and even sales. Southwest is dealing with lackluster earnings and has been impacted by delays in aircraft deliveries from Boeing. Volvo launched its electric EX30 late last year. Now all the cars it has produced, nearly 72,000 of them, are being recalled. Volvo says it has discovered a bug in the display software. A new survey finds more than a quarter of Gen Z job seekers are involving their parents in the interview process. 31% had a parent join them for their in-person interview, and 29% had them join a virtual interview. Finally, imagine you're scheduled to attend a Zoom meeting, but you'd rather do anything else than attend. So you send your digital AI clone to attend for you. It could soon be a reality. The CEO of Zoom is working on digital twin technology so workers can have an AI version of themselves, attend meetings, and handle other time-consuming parts of their day. That's business. CJ Papa, Fox News.
Across the nation tonight, the fallout continues over anti-war protests on college campuses across the country. As Fox 17 News' Angela Brown explains, tonight a prominent Republican senator is urging one top university to refund tuition.
Allison Williams just graduated with her master's in journalism from Columbia University. Already has a job.
I'll pretty much just be filming, editing, doing all my own reporting.
Her degree costing more than what she'll make.
My tuition was $80,000.
Senator Marco Rubio sending this letter to the president of Columbia demanding a tuition refund for Columbia students following pro-Palestinian protests. Rubio saying in part, the university's inability to adequately respond resulted in the cancellation of in-person classes. Campus Reform read that letter.
Senator Marco Rubio is very, very disheartened and discouraged that students' ability to learn was completely taken away from them.
Protesters set up encampments on Columbia University, calling on Columbia to divest from companies doing business with Israel. Demonstrations that at times cross the line, leading to anti-Semitic violence.
I understand not wanting your tuition money to go towards a foreign war. And I understand that Jewish students should feel safe at school. So I feel like there's a place where both of those things can happen. And I feel like administration hasn't done a good job at addressing either of those things.
So far, it appears Columbia has not responded to Rubio. Allison now holding her breath for a refund.
My entire sophomore year of college was online for COVID, and I don't think anybody saw a dime for that.
Columbia just reached a settlement in a class action lawsuit alleging a hostile environment for Jewish students. Under this agreement, Columbia has to establish additional security measures. In Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
As we move into the next few days, we are fairly comfortable. It won't be until we head towards Thursday and Friday that we start to see a big warm up on the way, and it's going to get a lot warmer in a hurry. So enjoy that Tuesday. We'll see temperatures in the low 80s for the afternoon. And looking at mainly sunny skies for the week ahead. I really don't see a chance for rain until probably this time next week, maybe a stray shower by Sunday. And as I mentioned, some record heat possible later this week as well. 92 our forecast for Thursday. Record is 97, 95 for Friday. 97 is also the record for Friday. And then looking at some mid to upper 90s possible with that record 100. So as we get towards Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I do think those records could be in jeopardy, or at least we'll be on record watch, if you will. Tomorrow looking great. Lots of sunshine around. Temperature is right around 69 at 10 o'clock, up to about 78 by 2. And we'll look at mainly dry conditions. So if there is a silver lining here, I was trying to find one. It's the drier air that's in play. The humidity won't be overly oppressive, even though we are looking at temperatures well into the 90s as we head towards the late half of the week. So next several days here, high pressure in control. We're just going to let this go because we've got not much to talk about as far as rain chances are concerned. It's going to keep the sky dry for us too. As we get into Wednesday afternoon, evening, we'll start to see that high slip off to the east here. Wednesday night into Thursday, we will see the flow begin to change more to a south flow, and that'll help warm us up going into the beginning of the weekend in those mid to upper 90s. Overnight tonight, a little bit of patchy fog may be possible for us, mainly low-lying areas. Otherwise, looking at mainly clear skies. Our temperature comfortable. We'll be down to about 56, up to about 80 for the high tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine here. Winds stay relatively light. An overall nice afternoon for us. Heading into the next several days, you can see that the heat returns mainly Thursday. We've got 3 days on the year at 90 or higher, and we are going to be adding to that number heading into the later half of the week, with temperatures looking to stay in those mid-90s for Monday of next week.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Some spectacular lightning images from last night, including this one in eastern Alabama and this one across the sky in San Antonio. These are just 2 of the 8 million lightning flashes that occur somewhere on Earth each day. Your odds of being struck during your lifetime are 1 in 600,000. No lightning in the skies over Rhode Island, just a beautiful sunrise welcoming the new day.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on this station's website to share.
And you can see more weather stories like this every weekday morning on
10 Furniture.
This week on Full Measure, Cheryl Atkinson talked with 2 IRS whistleblowers, Joseph Ziegler and Gary Shapley, who built the current criminal case against the president's son, Hunter Biden. It began with Ziegler discovering that Biden allegedly didn't pay taxes on millions of dollars he collected from foreign governments, including Ukraine and China, while his father was vice president.
How much money was the income? I mean, it's been reported, but do you remember how much income there was from the Ukrainian gas company Burisma?
For what wasn't reported in 2014, especially Ziegler's like, he's got this down, right? But it was, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was around $400,000. It wasn't reported, which resulted in around $120,000 in tax owing that still hasn't been reported, and nobody on his behalf has paid that. It hasn't been reported to the IRS, and it will never be reported.
Did he report some of it, just not the right amount?
So he was earning, it was $1 million a year contract for sitting on the board of directors. And I think it's important that we don't get too much into the details on it, because it is, tax cases are sometimes complex. But essentially the situation is that he earned money from a foreign country, paid it to someone else's corporation, and tried to represent that the money paid back to him was in the form of loans, non-taxable income. And essentially that was the money that was not reported and taxes paid to the IRS.
Were there really deductions claimed for hookers and things like that?
So yeah, if you look at the most recent indictment, it clearly lays out a lot of the deductions taken, to include some of the information that we brought forward, and that being one of them was a $10,000 payment for a sex club.
Is that deductible?
So anything that is related to your business that you are earning income off of, I mean, I don't want to get into the details of that. I wouldn't feel comfortable.
Generally, personal expenditures for personal nature are not deductible on a business tax return nor a personal tax return.
Hunter Biden says he's not guilty. He's facing 9 criminal charges in total. You can watch a replay of Cheryl's story on this topic at fullmeasure.news, and you can watch new episodes of Full Measure every Sunday morning at 7:30 here on Fox 17.
It is still in early trials, but researchers say a new study on a cancer vaccine is showing promising results. I'm Liz Bone as we explain how it works and how it could save lives. Just ahead.
Hey there, on Fox 17 News this morning, anchor Erica Glover. Movie theaters are now turning to some unique methods trying to get folks back in the seats. We're going to explain what's behind the summer box office slump and how theaters are trying to fight back. That story coming up Tuesday on Fox 17 News this morning. See you then.
Finish Ultimate, engineered for the toughest conditions. Dry burnt-on stains, old dishwashers, very hard water. Finish Ultimate with CycleSync technology helps deliver the ultimate clean.
Okay, ideas. Where are we going?
I got one.
What about a comedy show?
I've seen you, I've swiped on you, no. Okay.
The CEO of Anixa Biosciences, a partner in this clinical research, told me it's designed to teach the immune system to fight back.
And so if the immune system is properly trained through vaccination, then when those cancer cells arise, the idea here is that the immune system will immediately notice those cancer cells and destroy them.
Right now, the vaccine is being tested in women who are cancer-free after treatment, but are at high risk for breast cancer recurrence.
We're giving it to women who already had breast cancer, and we are specifically focused initially on triple-negative breast cancer.
In the more than 24 women who participated in this trial,
the data is looking more promising than any other vaccine technology in the cancer space that has ever been developed.
While human trials are still in early phases, the hope is that it would give those such as Dr. Matthew Kurian, a breast cancer specialist at Kentucky's St. Elizabeth Cancer Center, one more option to help those at high risk never develop cancer.
And also people that have gone through treatment, maybe administering a vaccine like this and preventing the cancer from coming back potentially as well.
Now, obviously, this is just the first of small trials, but many others on vaccines are in the works. We'll let you know when it might be moving to the next phase. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
All right, time for breakfast weather. We don't have to get